All right, let's jump right in. If you're in IT, you know the deal. You're not just managing company laptops anymore. Nope. You're trying to secure and configure this ever-growing collection of devices. Laptops, tablets, smartphones, some owned by the company, some by the employees. It's a lot. So how do you bring some order to all that chaos? Well, today, we're going to break down exactly how Microsoft Intune does that, and we're going to focus on the most critical first step, enrollment.
Just think about your own desk for a second. You've probably got a laptop, a phone, maybe even a tablet. Now multiply that by, I don't know, hundreds, maybe thousands of employees. You've got different operating systems, different hardware, different needs. Trying to wrangle all of that without a central system, it's like trying to conduct an orchestra where every musician is just playing whatever they want. It's messy, it's not secure, and it's just plain complicated. And that's the core problem we're here to solve.
And that's exactly why we call it the device zoo. It's just the perfect analogy, right? You've got your powerful workhorse laptops. Those are the lions of the office. You have the super mobile smartphones, the gazelles, always on the move. And then you have the tablets, the clever chimpanzees, ready for any task. Each one is totally different, with its own quirks and needs. And just like a real zoo needs a solid plan to care for every animal, your business needs a plan to manage every single device. That plan for us is Microsoft Intune.
So, how are we going to tame this zoo? Simple. We'll walk through it step by step. First, we'll get our heads around the big idea, the device management lifecycle. Then, we'll cover the foundational setup that you absolutely have to get right. After that, we'll explore the different ways you can get devices enrolled, Windows, iOS, and Android. We'll even look at a special tool for handling a ton of devices at once. And finally, we'll talk about the payoff. You know, what it all looks like when you've done it right.
Okay, let's start with the big picture. Before you even think about touching a setting, you need to understand the strategy behind it all. See, Intune isn't just a random box of tools. It's a whole system built around a really clear four-phase lifecycle. This framework, it applies to every single device you manage, from the second it comes out of the box to the day it's retired. Trust me, understanding this makes everything else click into place.
And here are those four phases. First up, Enroll. This is where a device gets registered and says hello to your Intune environment. Think of it like a device's first day on the job. Second, we have Configure. Once it's enrolled, you push out all the important stuff. Wi-Fi profiles, security policies, the apps people need. This is how you make sure the device is ready for work and playing by the rules. Third, Protect. This is the long game. You're constantly monitoring, updating, and making sure the device stays secure. And finally, Retire. When a device gets lost, stolen, or just old, you need a safe way to wipe all the company data off of it. This life cycle right here is the backbone of everything.
All right, so we've got the life cycle in mind. Where do we actually start? Well, before you can enroll a single, solitary device, there are two foundational settings you have to set up in Intune. Getting these wrong is kind of like building a house on a shaky foundation. The whole thing's just going to fall apart. These are the absolute non-negotiable first moves for any Intune setup.
So this slide breaks down those two critical starting points. On one side, you have the universal requirement for everybody. You have to set the Mobile Device Management, or MDM, authority to Intune. You're basically telling your whole system, hey, Intune is the boss around here. It's like flipping the master power switch for device management. Then, on the other side, if you've got any iPhones, iPads, or Macs in your device zoo, and let's be real, who doesn't, you've got an Apple-specific task. You have to create and upload an Apple MDM push certificate. This certificate is the secret handshake that lets Intune securely talk to Apple's notification service to manage all those devices. Without it, your Apple gear is totally invisible to Intune.
With that foundation solidly in place, we can finally get to the main event, enrollment. Now, this isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of deal. The path a device takes to get into Intune really depends on its operating system and whether it's brand spanking new or already being used. So let's look at the main paths for the big three, Windows, iOS, and Android.
For Windows, you've got a whole bunch of options. If you're dealing with new corporate devices, Windows Autopilot is the absolute gold standard. It's basically a zero-touch setup where a user just unboxes their machine, connects to the internet, signs in, and boom, Intune handles the rest. It's magic. For devices you're already managing with something like Configuration Manager, you can use co-management to slowly move things over to Intune. And of course, there are user-driven methods, like having someone join their device to Microsoft Entra ID, that's the new name for Azure Active Directory, which can automatically pick off the Intune enrollment. The trick is just picking the right tool for the right job.
Now, compared to all those options for Windows, the story for mobile devices is way simpler.
For both Android and iOS, the main path, especially for personally owned devices, is just beautifully straightforward. The user just downloads the Company Portal app from their app stores, signs in with their work account, and follows a few simple prompts. This process is great because it keeps a clear line between personal stuff and work stuff, especially with Android Enterprise work profiles. It gives the user control while giving IT the security it needs.
So what kind of animals can actually live in our Intune managed zoo? Well, the list is pretty long. We're talking modern Windows versions like Windows 10 and 11, and even special editions for IoT and Surface hubs. For the Apple fans, it's macOS 11 and up, and iOS or iPadOS 14 and newer. And on the Android side, anything from version 8.0 onwards is good to go, including the heavy-duty Samsung Knox platform. It even extends to Linux and Chrome OS, making Intune a truly cross-platform solution.
Now, enrolling devices one by one with a Company Portal is perfect for a bring-your-own-device setup, but what if you have a restaurant that needs to set up 50 point-of-sale tablets, or a warehouse that's deploying hundreds of handheld scanners? Making someone enroll all of those one by one is just not going to happen. For these massive deployment scenarios, Intune has a special tool, the Device Enrollment Manager, or DEM for short.
And here is the magic number. A single Device Enrollment Manager account is a special, non-admin user account that has one incredible superpower. It can enroll up to 1,000 devices. This is an absolute game changer for large-scale projects. An IT admin or a manager can use this one DEM account to get an entire fleet of devices set up, without having to assign each one to a specific person right away.
But, and this is a big but, that power comes with some really important limitations. A DM account is really meant for shared devices, or devices that don't have a specific user, like a kiosk or a scanner. Because there's no single user tied to them at enrollment, these devices can't get to things like personal email or company data that require a user's credentials. They also don't work with Apple's automated enrollment programs. So think of it as a very specialized tool for a very specialized job. It's not a replacement for regular user enrollment.
Okay, so we've laid the foundation. We've looked at all the different ways to enroll devices, and we've even seen the tool for doing it in bulk. So what's the end result? What's the big payoff for all this effort? The goal is to get to a point where your entire device zoo is managed, secure, and totally ready for your employees to be productive from the moment they log in.
This quote right here, this captures that perfect end-user experience. Just imagine you're a new hire. A brand new laptop shows up at your house. You take it out of the box, you turn it on, you connect to your Wi-Fi, and you sign in with your new work email and password. And then you see this message. While you go grab a coffee, Intune is busy in the background, installing your apps, setting up your email, and applying all the right security settings. No confusing manuals, no calls to the help desk, it just works. This is that seamless, modern experience that proper Intune enrollment makes possible.
So, getting your devices enrolled is that crucial first step. It's getting all the animals into the zoo. But once they're inside, the real work of managing them actually begins. You now have a whole fleet of devices checked in and just waiting for instructions. So the question we'll leave you with is this. Now that they're listening, what are you going to tell them to do? What are the very first security policies, the first configuration profiles, the first apps you're going to push out to make your organization both productive and secure? That, my friends, is the next step in your device management journey.